Hello, this is Julianne with Life Edit and Design, and this is kind of part two in our series about the client portal, and this is kind of how you would build it. So in the last section, we talked about kind of the basics, and this is a little bit about how you would actually build your client portal and choose the platform that you want to use. And then at the end of this, we'll do a quick tour through the onboarding and client portals that I use, and just give you a sense of how that might give you some ideas of what to do with Notion, or how you might want to pick your own platform. So let's first go through again, just real briefly. A client portal is, oops, I forgot to float me on top. Don't you hate that? Let's just do that real quick so I don't go away. So a client portal is where you would manage your client relationship. So that's really the key. Like, why would you want one? It's obviously to manage your client relationships. And it's a secure place where you can share documents, communicate with your clients, and provide access to other services. So let's dive into kind of the three key features that we just talked about: communication, access, and store. So secure document sharing is obviously the first thing that we're going to be talking about. And what would you want for that? Why would you even want it? I find that this is the great place, or the great method of onboarding your clients, is when you have all your documents in one place and you can have them go through it. So you can put your agreement right in your client portal. So that will get them going right from the get-go. You can say, like in my case, I tell clients, get your free Notion SO account, and then go and log in. I send them the link, and they can log right in to see their contracts. And then any policies that you have. So if you're a personal trainer, do you have different things that you want them to agree to? If you're a coach, there are different etiquettes, different policies, things like that you really want them to be aware of. And then obviously if you have session outlines, this is a great way to share it. So if you're say a therapist or a coach, and you want to share kind of like some client homework, and it's pretty structured, and you have some templates you want them to use, that's a great place to do it. If you're a personal trainer and you want them to have like a tracking document that you want them to keep, print out and take action with, you could do that. And if you're using Notion, you could actually create them a habit tracker or a session tracker right in Notion, which I love. So you don't even have to have anything printable. And that's, again, this document sharing is a great tool that will get them to come back to Notion or come back to your client portal on a regular basis to do the work that you've assigned them. The next thing is a communication tool. Like, how are you going to talk to your clients? So many people just email back and forth, and I think that's just it's just a hodgepodge way. Like, you can't actually see the whole relationship. Where if you have threaded conversations, like in Notion, you can comment back and forth, and they can comment to certain things, or comment in certain areas, so they can comment right on their homework, and you can have a threaded conversation right there, and then start a new threaded conversation without losing track of the first one. So I really like the idea of threaded conversations. That would be something that, as you're looking for your client portal, that would be something I'd want to see, so you can see that history of the things that you've talked about, and you can also see the evolution. For a coach or a therapist, this is a great way to see that evolution of how things have gone on. And make sure that whatever your communication tool for whatever platform you choose has some way of notifying people. So in the case of Notion, it will send you emails, and it'll also give you kind of a red button up here in your Notion. Let me just close that out too, to let you know that you've had a comment. So this is a great way to, again, have those threaded conversations, but then be aware when somebody has published something, and that your client will also get those same kind of notifications to know that you've commented back. So I think that's a really important thing to look for in your client portal. And I've had other ones where I never knew if somebody commented, and I had to go in and check, and I just think that's kind of silly. Task management. This is obviously another big thing that you want to be able to do, is if you're going to assign your client homework. So if there is a workout that you want them to do, if there are exercises, mental exercises, an audio, a meditation you want them to listen to and then reflect on, you can have them do homework right inside of your client portal. Obviously, trackers are another great thing. So this would be personal trainers, for yoga instructors, anybody who works one-on-one with clients in that field. It's just a way, or even if you're a coach and say you're a life coach or health coach, you can build a habit tracker for them to go in and track their progress with drinking water, or with how many steps they're taking in a day, or whatever it is that you're working on. So having that tracker right inside your tool is great. And then questionnaires too. So onboarding, you may have a questionnaire, but throughout the process, you may have reflection points. You may have different things where you want them to provide some feedback. Maybe it's a weekly questionnaire that they figure out that says, how did your week go? So you can create a template right in Notion for those kind of things that would say, okay, this is the questionnaire I want them to fill out this week, and you just apply the template, and they could have that. So it could be a first quarter questionnaire, second quarter questionnaire, or 1/3 of the way through their journey, there's a questionnaire, something like that. So this is, again, a great way for you to interact in your client portal. So just be aware of these features as you're looking at portals. Obviously, I'm a big Notion fan and I'm going to tout Notion, but whatever platform you look at, can you share documents? Can you communicate in a nice, concise way that includes notifications? And can you manage tasks where you give them your clients assignments and you can see their progress on those assignments? So those are 3 key features that I think you really want to make sure your client portal has. So once you've picked your client portal, what are the steps to actually building your portal? So let's just close these up because I had them open and I don't like to distract. So let's look at this. So first, your objectives. Like, why are you having client portal? What are you trying to do? What are the objectives that you want to do with your client? So what do you want to achieve with your portal? This is just a very basic question, but it will come out later and you're trying to outline it. So if you have this idea of what do you want to achieve, do you want to make your clients accountable? Do you want to share information? Do you want to keep them on track? Like, what is it that you want to achieve? What types of information are you sharing? Documents? Are you sharing videos? Are you sharing audio links or just internet links, resources? What are you sharing with them? What information? And what tasks do you want to perform? So again, this is kind of going right back to this information. It's what tasks do you want to be able to perform through using this portal. So whether it's, again, doing that habit tracker, providing that accountability, having them fill out something, having them respond to you, having them give you, an insight to their week, whatever it is, I think this is a great way to work back and forth. And say you're a photographer and you want to use a client portal. You might be sharing links to the Dropbox where you have everything stored. And for tasks, you want them to say, hey, pick the 10 photos that you want to have printed, or whatever it is. Certainly as a photographer, you can find ways to do the same thing using this site. And you obviously, I don't know how much you could store in Notion, so I would think you'd still want to do Dropbox for maybe all your photos. But then you can really ask them to do different tasks and like, which photos do you want? Or you can have like a questionnaire that fills out that says, what are the photos that are really important to you on your wedding day, and have a checklist, and they can check off the photos that they want so that you have a sheet to go with when you're actually at the shoot to capture all the right photos for them. So these are the kind of things I want you to be thinking about when you're identifying your objectives. This will help inform how you're going to move forward to your portal. So next, you need to actually select your platform. So once you have your objectives, what will the platform that you pick allow you to do this? So first, do you want a standalone or an integrated platform? I am all about integrated. I use Notion for everything, and that's how I instruct my clients. So my website's built on Notion. I also have my customer hub on Notion. I have my courses on Notion. So I have everything locked up inside Notion because it's just, I only need to learn one platform and it's all right there. And all I have to do is basically go through my navigation and I can find whatever it is that I've created because I only have to look in one place. And that's just so neat. So that's the first question is, does you want it to integrate to something you've already got, or is this going to be a standalone and that's one more thing you're going to have to learn, but that may be the case. So look at which model it makes more sense for you. And this is probably a key driving factor, right? Is the price point and the model of payment. So some of them you charge per client, some of them are subscription based, we pay per month, and some are a combination of subscription and number of clients that are in there. So be aware of how they do their pricing, if it's a one size fits all or if it's based on scale. And what is that price point? Do you get more bang for your buck if you pay annually? And if you pay annually, then you're locked into having that for the whole year versus a month to month and finding out, well, I don't like this one. What model works for you? What price point works for you? I like Notion because free. Did I say free? Love free. Especially when you're starting as an entrepreneur. Why not try something for free? Why jump into something that's very, very expensive? So you can use Notion and have a client onboarding portal for free. I think that's a no-brainer, but that's just me. And then features. So you're going back up here, looking at some of the things that you want to be able to do and what you want to be able to share. Does that portal that you're looking at offer the features that you want to make all this happen? So that's important. Hopefully they have a demo for you so you can try it out before you start paying money to make sure that you can accomplish the objectives that you have above. So that's selecting your software. So next, you want to go in and customize your portal. So things that you can do, colors, logos, fonts. You want it to be cohesive, especially if it's a standalone and it's not integrated to what you're already doing. can you make it look like a piece of your own software, or do you have to live with something that somebody else designed? Not a big fan of that. I love to do colors, logos, and fonts. But having said that, I love how Notion really kind of limits me, because if I have too much time, like I have a header and then I have some colors and I can drop an image in. But if I have too many options, I go down into a rabbit hole, and I don't like that. So enough of ability to customize without too much where you spend all your time building your customer hub and making it look a certain way, and you don't actually spend time with your clients. So, themes and branding within reason, I guess. And then next thing you want to know is, or want to be able to do, is to outline your sections and be thinking about your client and their initial flow. Again, we talked about in the first and the basics. If you scare them away on day one when they get into the portal, you're going to have a tough time keeping them there. But if you make it so intuitive and it flows for them when you start setting it up, make sure you're thinking about how easy can I make this. You may be so excited that there's bells and whistles you can do, but maybe you want to hold off on it initially so that your clients aren't overwhelmed. It has to be as simple as possible. I think this is pretty simple. Opening and closing a toggle, pretty simple. Clicking on a link, pretty simple. Checking boxes, very simple. And I'll show you an example in a minute. But you really want to be thinking about that flow. So as you outline your sections, be thinking about scanning. So they're going to be looking. So again, see how simple these headers are, bullets, check boxes. Think about how they're going to scan the information and how they can flow through it easily. And then determine what functions you need to have. So if we talk about up here, like if there's trackers, homework, questionnaire, what are those functions that are going to be built in, and kind of just put placeholders. So get this rough outline set up with a flow in mind and with the functionality that you need in mind. So that's going to be your next step. Then obviously, time to create your content. So here's some of the things I would recommend from having done this myself is, again, you want to make this insanely easy and intuitive. So instructions and guides. With all of mine, I do videos, I do call outs so that they can follow through. So just make sure that you have that in place. And what I like with Notion is I can set it up initially. So if I jump over here, like initially I have these little call outs, but after the client has gotten working for a while, I'm just going to delete them. Right? They don't need to see them all the time. They just need to see them initially. So I can keep making things cleaner and cleaner. The other thing I can do is move things around. So after they've signed their agreement and we've kind of gotten some of this stuff out of the way, I can drag and put this lower, or I can nest this all into a toggle and hide it so they don't need to see it in the future, but they can always get back to it. So just keep that in mind, is how can you make this flow and easy for them? So instructions and guides. And then onboarding. Is there, as you start to think about what are the onboarding documents you need, what are some templates you're going to want, what are some trackers you're going to want. So again, if we go back in here, there's different templates that I have built that will drop in different things for the client. So they just kind of, as the coach or as the trainer, I can have these pre-built. So if there's a client, say, who's doing, let's use photography example. So if you have a wedding photography client, they may have a different template than somebody who's doing a family photo shoot versus somebody who's doing, an Instagram photo shoot, and they're doing some social media imaging. So they're all going to have different needs, right? So you can create different templates, different onboarding, different templates, so that you capture their needs ahead of things before you even get to the photo shoot. And I would have, let's say, 3 templates for the 3 different kinds of customers you have. If you're a coach, you may do different things for people who have, say, weight loss as a goal, versus somebody who has maybe dealing with aging or staying vital, staying active. Like they may have different goals, and you'd have different templates. So you want to make sure that you have the ability to load different templates to make your life easier and to make things flow for them. And then we talked before about those trackers, so like the ability to build a custom tracker or have at least a couple in your toolkit that you can copy and paste and drop in. I love that. So that gives you that a little bit of customization. We talked about that in the basics. The ability to customize this for what your clients are going to be working on really makes you stand out as a professional. Like, hey, when they come in, it's not a one size fits all. You've actually put the pieces in that really fit what they're going to need. Then obviously media and audio and video links. So if there's audios, meditations you want them to listen to, you might want to templatize that. So when maybe onboarding has a clearing template or a clearing audio meditation before they get started, or maybe there's some playlists that you really, really like that you want to use for your workout clients to be aware of, recommendations, things like that, videos, if you have tutorials on how to do a certain exercise, or maybe you as a photographer, you have video on tips to how they should dress and how they should be able to, what kind of changes of clothes they can do during the photo shoot, things like that. All these things are things you want to be thinking about and creating. So you can do so much with your onboarding, and then with a click of a button, have it all be applied to your client. So quick, so easy, amazing. So links, other links besides audio and video, are just links to favorite sites, links to other parts of your site. If you want to link them back to your website, you want to link them to upsells, other products you have, you want to be able to make sure you have that right into your content. And then obviously other resources that you want to make available based on your client's goals. So the fact that you can customize this while making it a template at the same time. So a click of a button, and I'll show you that real quick. But with a click of a button, you can have all this apply to your clients and really give them a customized onboarding feature without you going crazy. Okay, next step. You have to actually invite your clients, right? So how does your system, whatever platform you've picked, how does it onboard them? So we've talked about there's onboarding documents to your business, but how do they onboard to the client platform in the first place? So you need to some kind of welcoming email, some kind of login, account creation instructions, and expectations. These are things that you want to set with your client right from the get-go, is that this is where you'll communicate, this is how you'll communicate, how often, how long responses will take. You'll want all of that in some kind of welcoming message when you're inviting your clients to this in the first place, making sure that they are aware of how to create a password, what the password requires. I hate when you get on and you can't tell that you haven't put the special character in or something, and you don't know why you keep getting bounced out. So make sure they're aware of what they need to put in a password, what their log on should be. All of that information just be written in a onboarding email, ready to go. And then we talked about this, I guess, in the basics class, is also maintaining and keeping your portal up to date. So constantly getting new content up for your clients based on what they need, right? We don't need to make extra work, but as you see your client struggling with something, then throw a link in their platform to link to something helpful, some kind of tip, or record a quick video and link it up to their portal so they can see that. You want to get their feedback too. What are they getting stuck on? You could have them just quickly write notes like, hey, I would love to see this a different way, or my mind doesn't work that way. Could you do this? Or I really would like this kind of feature. Getting their feedback is important. Then you can improve that onboarding experience for the next client. The more you get from your current clients, the better you will get creating an experience going forward. And give yourself some grace. We all are not going to be perfect the first time out. We wish we would be, but no. It takes time, it takes practice, and you will learn. Even after the first client, you're like, oh, I should have never done that, or that didn't work the way I expected. You're going to keep improving your client portal as you go forward. And I would definitely recommend quarterly reviews, going in and looking at your templates, your starter packs, whatever it is you put on for the first time for a client, and take a look at how you can make that better, cleaner, more visible, more scannable, prettier, whatever it is. But again, because we talked about here how I could get totally bogged down in that theme, branding, and color. So maybe you start out very, very minimal, but then later on you add a little bit more tweaking to your branding and things like that. But you don't start there, and you kind of do that at your quarterly review. So let's take a quick look at some Notion onboarding. So this is a template that I created that I start off when I'm working with different clients, whether it's photographer, coaches, or therapists. This is kind of the start, is just giving you like a profile of what you'd want. So the client agreement is great to attach this here, and this is a note that you could just say to something to them, or you could delete this, but again, it's the ability to have these colored instructions, and obviously you can change the colors to whatever you'd like. You can change the text or the background, which I love in Notion. So again, a little bit of that branding. You could add a cover here to again get your branding in there, but you'll have right here, it can be a great way for them to contact you if you want them to contact you on something other, social, email, phones, whatever. You could have your Zoom link in here if this is something that you're constantly going back and forth on Zoom calls. That would be great to stick right here. So again, it's a really good reason for them to come in, and they don't have to go looking through their emails for where's that Zoom link. It'd be right here on this page. Important dates, if you have things that you need to know, like this is a photographer one, so it happens to be showing some of the different things, so that setting those expectations of when they are going to be working with you, what they can expect from you. It's great to give you them those dates up front. If you're a coach, maybe you have couple appointments set up, so it's initial consultation and the first 3 appointments, or if it's a package deal and they have like 4 calls, you could give them the 4 calls that they have allowed, and then they can put this in their own calendars. But it's great to just give them any different date information right up front. If there's a deposit schedule, any kind of payment dates, you could also have that here. You could link it right to your payment processor, whatever that's going to be. So if you have Square or something like that, you could put the link here with the amount, whatever you want to do. Again, this is kind of just giving them that onboarding experience. This would all be the stuff that they need to get going. Down here are like policies I have built in, which I think is really important. So in this case, if you're a personal trainer or if you have things related to the photo shoot, so you want to just talk about how they should be dressed, your appointment policy, your payment policy, confidentiality. These are just some different things to look at ownership. So I guess in the case of a photographer, who owns the photos, what can be done with the photos, deliverables, things like that. So this again is setting that expectations, getting everything out front, which I think is great. And these are all just toggles. So these can be closed right up so that your client doesn't have to get overwhelmed. They can go through each one simply, and then I have them sign off on their policies. So that's one way to do it. Here it just shows you a little bit more. Here's have a little bit more branding. So again, not overwhelming, but just simple, getting a nice pretty header, getting again some instructions, giving a little bit of personality. You could have your photo on here. Again, linking to different things. It's just showing you things in a little bit different layout. Then when they're done with things like I talked about before, you could take all this and you could hide it. You could maybe make the Zoom link just be the very top thing on the page after you've onboarded them. You can move this all around and do anything you want. So let's talk a little bit about the templates. So I want to go back a bit and get out of this. Let's just go back a bit. So over here in Notion, you can go over here and you can make a template. So this is a client template that I have, but you can have a template for all the different things. So these are just intake notes, everything that you have, including this chat, but all of this you can templatize and work. Is that a word? That is a word for me today. But you could have the wedding client template. You could have the social media template. If you're a coach, you could have somebody who's working on just a health client. Maybe you have a premier package versus a one-off package versus a year-long VIP package. So maybe based on the different packages, there's different things that you put in their template. You can build all this, and then with the click of the button, just clicking down here, you could have a whole laundry list of different templates that you've thought through once, and then you just click the button and it applies it to that client, which I absolutely love. And with that, you can really save yourself a lot of time, but come off as super professional, really bring people into a great experience. Again, I love the cleanness of Notion, that you don't get bogged down in too much. There's some simple abilities to put color in, but nothing overwhelming. So that is kind of a quick walkthrough of how you would do a client portal inside Notion, but just in general, how to shop for and build your first client portal. Now, if this is all fascinating to you and you don't want to do all the work, I do have packages that I've built in Notion. I have currently at the time of this, I have photographers, therapists, coaches and personal trainers, and I will be putting up yoga instructors very soon. But you can certainly reach out to me if I don't already have a client portal built for what you want, or you could buy one of those and adjust it to what you need. But I've already done all the heavy lifting for you. You just need to now take it and kind of tweak it for what you need for your clients. So if you'd like to learn more about that, you can go to lifeditanddesign.com, or you can click the link below this video. And I hope that I will see you in another video. Take care.